Good morning, family. My name is Mimi, and this is my channel, Graceful Mimi. I'm so excited to be with you today. I hope you all had a happy Thanksgiving, that the quality time, the downtime was everything that you needed, and maybe even if the retail therapy was too, that was on point. I wanted to talk today about something that really crossed my mind the other day. Based on the discussion I was having with my husband, I want to talk to you about grace to fail. And maybe not in the ways that you might think, but I want to talk about that. My husband is a Country Wayne skit reviewer. It is a web-based drama, and it has a lot of drama. And in one of the skits, there's a character by the name of Shayla who, she done a lot of crazy stuff, including sleeping with her best friend's husband, having a baby by him, and then somehow trying to function like a concubine or something, and live in this wonderful world of delusion where she didn't really just do what she did, but she's now, I don't know, important in the husband's. This is crazy. If you're interested in that, if you want a good drama, you can go follow D Carroll Reviews is the handle, but Deontay's Reviews is his YouTube name. And you can follow more about that. You might have to rewind a little bit to some videos, but one of the hot ones is Amber, Shayla, and Anthony. Their little triangle of shenanigans is evolved, but yeah. Anyway, I wanted to talk about that. Inspired me, right? It inspired me because I began to think about, in one of his recent questions, he asked me about, like, is this going to put Shayla, like, she's about to get, she doesn't know it yet, but her heart's about to get broken. Now she's in a relationship herself. And then he had a question about whether or not this puts her on the road to redemption. One of the things that I said there was, in my opinion, that sometimes I believe, for anyone who is a believer or identifies as that, there is failing when you did something that you shouldn't do, and then there's failing when God is just trying to grow you. I would argue that both, if you believe in God, will still help you to find yourself in a better place than you were before. Failing, whether it's prompted by your own stupid behaviors, sorry, love you though, silly behaviors, or if it's a part of your test and testimony, they can all work together for the good of them that love the Lord. One of the things that I said to him is, in my opinion, your destruction and your redemption in many ways can run parallel to each other. If you're a believer, they run parallel to each other, meaning if you are true in your heart, there is always a chance to find redemption. Or you can just stay on the road to destruction and see the final destination that it gets you to. Or you can ride in a road of destruction. It doesn't mean there might not be some consequences, but the sum of your story won't be the destruction. The sum of your story will be this beautiful redemption, a deeper, more beautiful love than you could ever imagine, being found in your full surrender to God. I think my husband must have something in his offices tickling my nose, because and so that's call me whatever you want to call me, a perpetual optimist or a deep believer in the love of God and his grace, but that is what I believe. I stand 10 toes on it and I stamp it. That's what I believe. That's what I said, right? But the grace to fail. So that concept is most easily accepted when you're the person maybe that has struggled or has made a mistake, or it's not immediately relevant to your life. At the moment, you don't feel like you've done something wrong. And failing in this moment means more so stuff hit the fan. It wasn't the best decision. And maybe not necessarily from an ethical standpoint, maybe from like a business standpoint or something like that. But I'm talking more so from today about the ethical side. But if it applies to other ways, go with it. The grace to fail. All things indeed work together for the good of them that love the Lord. Now, I'm talking to you friends. I'm talking to you parents. I'm talking to people who may be connected to someone. If you watch the skits, maybe the Angelinas of the world, who may be connected to someone who is trending in a behavior that is destructive and you're struggling with it. One, of course, leave them at the altar. You pray, you cover them, you leave them at the altar. But here's the thing. One, you might need to create boundaries to give them their space for what they want to do if they won't listen to you when you give them their honest opinion. One of the things that I do believe that you should do is be honest with them. Be honest. Like their little Jiminy Cricket. Be honest with them and then let them make their own choices. That is also one of the things that I saw in a skit for a slightly different spin-off of that situation. It is very important that you are transparent with those whom you love. Like how you're going to be friends, how you're going to be homies, how they're going to be your child if you don't tell them their slip is showing. Don't tell me, you're not going to tell me I got a booger hanging out my nose. Wait, no, I don't. You're not going to tell me I got a booger hanging out my nose. Let me go the whole day and get embarrassed because maybe my optics in the situation are a little bit different. And use your judgment, child. Like, don't be just... If somebody is doing something great and it actually did require them to be bold and courageous, don't rain on their parade all the time. Like, if that's what you're going to do, find ways to thoughtfully incorporate something that you want to put on their radar. Give them a criticism sandwich or a recommendation sandwich. Start with something positive. One piece of bread. Throw in a little slice of something to bear in mind. Not don't say you ain't gonna do this, you don't need to do that. No. One thing you might also want to bear in mind is, have you thought about this? This can sometimes be a thing, right? I'm excited for you for this. This sounds like an awesome opportunity. You might want to bear in mind this. How do you feel about that? Because that could be a tricky thing. I believe in you, and I'm excited to see where things are going to go, right? Even if it's something that somebody's doing that you love, first of all, never just come in hot. You know, I love you, and I believe in you, and I know that you will do great things with your life. I know you deserve know you deserve the world. You deserve to have God's best. I'm going to be transparent. I love you, but I'm a little bit concerned about this particular thing with this guy that you mentioned. Like, I want you to be well loved and I want you to be cared for. I struggled a little bit with the fact that he's not as readily accepting of the fact that you have a child. I think it's going to be a little bit difficult to build something with him because of that, because that is important to you. You don't want to compromise the things that are important to you. I love you and I support you, but I also want, because we don't contradict, and I also want you to think about that and what that means for you, because that's not a small deal. Based on what you've told me is most important, based on what I've come to know about you. So how are you thinking you might navigate that? You don't leave it just with the criticism or the hard part. You give it a little bit of a chaser in a way. But when it comes to your children, sometimes that's the hard one, right? Sometimes it's easier with friends and harder with children. I will say, as an adult, one of the things, if you have any we're not going to talk about what we consider actually being grown, but let's just say for the sake of legality, over 18, and they don't actually rely on you heavily. But over 18. when it comes to your children, it is important that you find ways to demonstrate to them that you respect the new space that they're walking into, and that you're going to make efforts to try to be mindful of this new space that they're in or their adulthood. And actually, you know what? I'm not even going to talk about the 18 child. That's a whole other conversation. We need a whole hour for that. But let's talk about your grown children. It's hard to see them fail, especially when you have walked in maturity and lived a life. I would recommend that if you're giving feedback to your grown children, you follow a similar cadence. Remind them of how you feel about them and what you desire for them. Be honest about your concerns. Tell them that you still love them and you will still be there. But be honest about your concerns. You can use those and statements so that it, because when you say but, sometimes it contradicts. But it's really important that you are transparent, that you get that off of you. Now, I'm not saying don't do, listen, because some of y'all will be, don't cuss them out in a criticism or feedback saying, don't do that. Because they're going to shut down and they're going to hear a word. Is your goal to say what you have to say, or is your goal for them to hear you? Because your delivery has to be different depending on that. But when you're communicating, say those things. Anchor it in the feedback sandwich, criticism sandwich, however you want to name it. And then leave it at the altar, because you need to pray. Not necessarily in the moment with them, but you need to pray and talk to your God about any burdens that you're carrying or concerns, because they're not for you. Your child has to do a thing that you might have done in your life, and that is fail with grace. You have made some decisions that helped you to learn difficult lessons. And while some people are able to learn through observing others, hearing others, engaging that intellectual capital from people they care about or their parents or their family, others have to let their behind get a little soft. And they have to feel the decision. They have to feel the why. They have to taste and see that wasn't good, right? And sometimes the Lord does a similar thing. Sometimes he allows you to have what you think that you want. But I'm telling you, they deserve to have a journey too. They deserve to walk it out. If it means, though, that their journey is putting burdens, like it means that you have to 80% of the time take care of their child and things like that, you pray and talk to the Lord about it. Certain boundaries you might have to put in place for certain things. I can't tell you what to do depending on what it is, right? But you need to pray, talk to the Lord, do what you feel your conscience is guiding you to do. But if something is messing you up, taking you out, and putting you in a really, really bad situation to the point where your health and things are failing, you might need to be okay with that looking a little bit different. Trust the Lord. But nevertheless, use your discernment with this, right? This advice that I'm giving. But we have to allow people to grow up on their own and have their own journey with the Lord, their own walk, and find the truth. Continue to pray. Your praying hands are your best hands, right? That is your best defense, your best offense for anyone that you care about. Cover them in prayer. Create boundaries where appropriate. Be honest with the feedback sandwich, and then allow them to learn why. You can't manhandle them into it. The Lord didn't necessarily manhandle you into some things. And don't forget, you ain't always been like this, boo-boo. You done some stuff. We all have. But I need you to let go of the weight of forcing them to receive wisdom when they're not ready. Say what you had to say it with your whole chest, and leave it there. The road of grace and redemption will run parallel. And you continuously pray that when God sees fit, He will continue to provide opportunities for them to take the turn into their grace and redemption. However this sits for you, that's all I want to say. I hope you have a great day. I'm going to go take some medicine because I feel like my nose is about to start running. I love you. I hope you have a fabulous day and that you feel all the love, all the joy that you deserve, and that your cup is full. Talk to you soon. Have a great day. Bye.